This is Washington State Court rules at Andy Miller's office. This is Richville County, Adams County, which is Adams County, and then Adams County is Franklin County, and Franklin County is Benton County, 7112 Wokenham Place, the Amir Singh Nijjar, AJM, Cimaron 5IC, Othello Watch, which Sunset ANCRES was purchased. OLYMPIA Watches and was contacted. Fire Bureau was contacted 18 years in advance of paying in full. Sunset Acres was caught on fire. Sean Logan's house was caught on fire at 1005005 East 10005 East Hamlet. Mr. Logan, Betty Logan, and Jim Logan incorporated watching the house catch on fire, and also the fire ordinances Erica, Tom, and Gary Weaver from Fire Department 5, and then Fire Department 3 here in Kennewick, Washington, which is next door to Andy Miller's office. The coroner's office 7110 West Okanagan Place. The coroner for the COVID-19. Mrs. Melissa Knight and Melissa Knight, the assessor for Freda Washington. The prosecutor Jennifer and Garth Dano has solid evidence of no words outstanding which were arrest, and also sealed documentation from the Washington State, and that's sealed with Mr. Dixon, Superior Court Judge. Mr. Superior Court Judge 210 West Broadway. Before that was Mr. Judge Miller, and he's no longer with 210 West Broadway. That's why neither is Susan. She's not the court clerk like Miss Staples here, and Josie Delvin here in Benton County. Josie Delvin, Josie Delvin, Delibin. And Mrs. Melissa McKnight, she's assessor for the audit office, presidential primary election, which is in March. And now COVID-19 is, the buildings are getting shut down. Every bar, restaurant, and facility, and the food handlers implements for human resources, and also the dead bodies that escalated here in Washington State, and also the other areas, which is the 37 different states. And corporate's initiative that is considered to be not too far array of implement array that pulling in all different directions since Mr. McKinnon, law firm, all of Mr. James McGee, McKinnon Law Firm professionals at all of them, Lake Washington, Lake K9 Unit, the Police Department, Mr. Kevin Fuhrer, Chief of Police, and also the Kennewick Police Department, Richland Police Department, and also the Pasco Police Department. This has been Adams County, and presumes Franklin County, and then becomes Franklin County into Benton County. And those, anytime it arises, that's A, B, C, D, E, F, Superior Court, are fully in effect when it's Franklin County, Adams County, Franklin County. That area of tangibility for transporting and faxing information to Andy Miller's office at 509-736-6306 has there's no indigency at all in any shape or way and form writing out checks to Mosley Police Department and writing out checks which don't bounce or cashed and paid for, and also writing out to money orders and implements for Chase Bank, Upper Bank, or Upper Bank, Chase Bank, or Oompa Bank, Sterling Bank, one time at Fellow Washington, which is Sackman. His tangibilities of keeping the array of information downloaded on all those increments received on all those receipts, deductions, and also bank statements of his utilities, Benton PUD with Richland Utilities, Fire Department, and Richland, Washington. See, implements on anything that Sunset Acres golfed on fire, Sean Logan's golfed on fire, Chevron gas station on Highway 26 golfed on fire, John Deere by next to Cruster, John Deere Evergreen implement, me walking or running exercise, and Eddie, and that's Eddie, the prosecutor of Washington State, and also Franklin County and Adams County is Benton County. So the property guidelines, NPD bills, and also Mr. Father Tom, Father Dylan, and St. Joseph Church, St. Patrick's in Pasco, and also Sacred Heart Church in Othello, Washington, 7th Street, and Mormon Church, which is the CBHA, and also Samaritan Hospital, Deaconess, Holy Hospitals, and Sacred Heart Hospital in Spokane, and also Deaconess, Sacred Heart, and also the Holy Hospital, and the Muscle Lake Police Department getting contact phone records from no warrants are outstanding, which my arrest, and that's Kevin Fear. Say you can't have people come here and persuade and intimidate people in any shape or way and form. And when they try to adopt or say this or that, an indigency, you come to a private lawyer's office like J Police Office in the Criminal and Family Law, 190 East Main Street, Othello, Washington. And the Washington Bar Association implies that the criminal laws not taken by jurors, these case jurors shall be allowed taking written notes regarding evidence represented to them, keeping notes in them. During deliberation, the court may allow juries to keep these notes, or the jury rules during recesses, or keeps these notes for the jury during recess, which the case juries may review their own notes by the share or discuss the notes with other jurors until they begin deliberating. Such notes created confidential between jurors making their fellow juries or shall to be destroyed immediately after the verdict is rendered. Jury duties is such a serious matter like the COVID-19, which is a primary election that occurred, and so COVID-19 effectively closing all doors in the administration office, Melissa Minot, and also Melissa Perez, and doing signatures, and also the presidential election campaign office, and also the sealed documentation that's in office because of the driver's license and your stolen driver's license, department license, and your social security card that is stolen from the officer attacking you on the sidewalk. Increments on the body cam, of course, the body pan is pretty self-explanatory. Videos do not lie, which is on your chest, and reporting that information like Felix Barela, requesting that information Andy Miller, Mr. Sackman, Steve Sackman, which has money and retaining tablet wallets in number 56 on C Street in the Freddy Courthouse, and that staffs inside upstairs in the basement, and also upstairs, prosecutor Dano and Jennifer, submitting information on the broken laptop, broken computers, and also the Samsung Nights, and also the Verizon equipment, which is all pretty much for day, and also the governor's office, and also Kim Williams Secretary UBI number, frequently on the all the information on your DOL. See, the rules of lawyers' conduct, grievance investigation, divisions, that's no overlooking, but I'm just saying that the access of the notice of opening meetings public to certain information, those are every 2 weeks, and the chief of police on the phone calls, reception, and increments of no warrants outstanding, saying why you didn't do this or that, and requesting body cam, peeling, going to the hospital, getting footnotes and records and recollection. Why didn't they take him to the hospital when he has to walk to the hospital? When they have to walk to court on I-90, and so he almost misses court date, and then voiding him, making sure, there'll be a warrant for his arrest. He can't walk that distance, or we're going to stop that individual in any shape, way, and form. We're going to take him down, spray him, tase him, and do everything necessary and possible. And he has no warrants. I send warrants for arrest. You have staff members in the DHCPS office on YouTube, Facebook, and you got it on your camera. You got live footage. You got the laptop sitting in the prosecutor's office when it's Washington Bar Association. Any bar examination notifications on results knows the bar examination increments on the footnotes on increments of bar examines. The Washington Bar Association knows that the bar examination shall be held in February and July each year. Each of these times, the board governors may design convenience times and locations as selected by department governors. Now, JNSLA and represent council members, I'm not indigenous in any way, shape, and form. I got US Bank, Chase Bank, and I got stubs and purchases and transactions occurrence, and also gigantic mail log on this laptop computer to retrieve all information that is purchased, and there's no alcohol, no influence of increments of driving on influence of alcohol, or increments of receiving any kind of deficiencies in any way, shape, or form of knowing your blood results. Now that's done every year, every month, to make sure that your blood cells, red cells, and also your insulin intake service, and there's nothing in the blood showing reflect that any kind of diseases, gonorrhea, collapse, syphilis, any kind of disease, any hepatitis, any degrees of A's or composition or compound, nothing that was supposed to be in your blood system. Knowing you're aware that your doctor will give you a knee brace. If you like getting hit by a truck and do some therapy, Gold's Gym or 24 Fitness or any services here in Moses Lake or Canoga Richland, Queensgate, or Eline Gold's Gym. Now COVID-19 has primary election, president's election, come forth when you're increments to the CBHA and also the Cimaron Hospital and increments in their staff members. Not to overlook in increments that the blood results every month is your payments you receive, your vaccination that you pay for, your insurance coverage. And they got tangible instruments that increments that they're so-called for J. Felix Barela, he's a family law, and also Mr. James McGee, the law practicing Washington Bar Association, and increments for that services, knowing the scope of jurisdiction on the sealed documentation that's done and the services they increment. They're making things up like Sanctuary Apartments or the Lola and Roberta, and also Fabian Barela and Felix Barela, and also increments of having the evidence and the services and the scope of jurisdiction, sealed documentation, making things up. That's been UT, POD, and statements and stubs, increments on the by disciplinary authority. Also, the Queensgate statements and the money tree statements for the manifest for all the Washington State Ordinance of cashing checks, and also J. Miller from Miller's phone room, cashing out writing checks in Felix Barela's name and depositing in Miller's office, which that's so much that I've done with information and work history increments on the US Bank, Chase Bank, and also Implement Stone Bank and other services. And also the $10,000 in assessments from Tabler Wallace's credit warehouse is 56. Daniel Garth and Stanford is the procedures prosecutors for the Washington Bar Association. Also across the street there's number 56, the lawyer's office. Rules of Evidence has a Rules of General Application Introduction Committee, and the jurisdictions, they got a gigantic list towards the Department of Licensing, and they basically got 37, this is 50 states, this is 30 minutes, yeah, this 50 states, and the increments that they work on with these states formally, known for the fact of Department of Licensing has a Washington Bar Association by that, following their matters to business and provide information, especially business owners and the farmers and the farmer that's been paid in 18 years in advance, and all the subrogate services of all the large amounts of money given to Andy Miller by J. Miller for $1,000, another $3,000 too, and then another zero balances increments that, of course, come from Franklin County, Adams County, Auditor, Assessor, and UBI business and disclosure departments. The scope of jurisdiction definition rules are implemented, as you can see, the documentation that's on the. So if you have documents and information and services, they have no indigenous services and also large amounts of money in the disputing the services, and they're just stopping or figuring a way to carry out or drag out making things up in services when you have no charges before or after the offense or the duration, or they just like making things up and handcuffing you or putting you in a situation damaging more services and can bring damaging more increments and adding more to the jury duty in the box. Any juries do not talk police officer, uniform, sheriffs, anyone, bailiffs, or deputies, and increments go into a phone and contact. They don't talk to sheriffs and increments, but they will contact the administrative police department to get the archive administration office to get the body cam off your chest one way or another by legal obligated services when you're not even a digit in any shape, way, and form, and they just like making things up. So the accessing the notice on the public open meetings, public disciplinary information, that's done every 2 weeks at Moses Lake Police Department, Moses Lake City Hall. Business owners and also farmers, ranchers, and oil companies on the farmers, ranchers, and cattle, horses, alfalfa, potatoes, onions. That's Tater Boy, that called Lamb Weston, and also the aviation AFFA, and the Federation, which is the airports, international airports, that are shut down COVID, and the Security Courthouse has these appointed restrictions and representative advisory responsibilities and ingredients on this lawyer conduct service. I mean, these are all Washington Bar Association guidelines for Washington State. Suppressive evidence or trying to suppress any kind of evidence, all increments of evidence from you running or exercising. Eddie, the prosecutor for Othello, Washington, the city hall ordinance, and having sheriff's call police officers and increments and detaining somebody and trying to get permission for ordinance when they have no authority at all for water, H2O, and exercising in any way, shape, or form. As you can see, the increments on that. This is a document from Office of the Sheriff's Office, and this is a check, outstanding check out to me, giving him $3,000, another $1,000, Jay Mueller, that's a coroner's office, Mr. Eric Benson, Jay Mueller, Frank Amicio, Elio Homer, and also Frank Leonard Bambach, and also Andy Miller. This is a document, it's not a document, written document of the increments of the transaction accounts and payroll. And this was never cashed any way, shape, or form. It was never cashed. See, why should you cash something out or receive anything when you are giving all this money to Eddie Miller's office and possibly recommending Washington Bar Association, which is a laptop, which is on the system, as you see. They have the admission and practice rules and hearings and the notes of character fitness board. Fix a time for place of hearing for applicants. The bar council shall receive, and therefore this last 30 days prior to hearing upon applicant upon other persons and ordered by fitness board. I give the blood every month. Wherever counsel, applicants, and responsible counsel burden proof as applicant established by liquor convincing evidence that for good moral character reports this is fitness of practice law. There's no law against running or getting water from the Superior Court and Superior Court office. It belongs to Felix Barela. And the documents and information that's around my neck when they take information from you, steal from information report, fault today information, and also the increments on information first and last and so speak. Bring that document to Andy Miller's office with a laptop information. Just proves who's Washington Bar Association amended rules policy enactments here. The burden proof proceeding of civil and criminal, and rules of evidence, which chapter before and after the crime, and then before and after crime, which was made up in all shape and form because of the body count off the chest, off the body, and calling these respondents and all to the police station, sheriff's offices in their face. Let them know that the discretionary of the H2 on running, exercising, or powerlifting, cross country running, or Ironman, or the marathon runs, and also the Ironman contest that incorporates with Adams County, Franklin County, Benton County, and also Benton PUD services and increments on their manifest record, and Vista Utilities and gas lines and natural cascade at Clamp, Cincinnati. That's Gage, and Clamp, which is headquarters now, Social Security Office. See, the admissions for those passes will have a mental cancellation. There's factors considering the case of board fitness cases involving the singlements. They just make things up. The sealed document is just sealed. Superior Court Judge Dixon, Judge Miller, and he's no more there. And Mr. Buer, District Court, is no more longer there. He started insinuating fights and standby services, misusing fuel lines and organ issuance and services, as you can see. All the scar tissue increments and services to the full payments received at zero balance, owing where you're just trying to manipulate and start confrontation in any shape and way and form. And they didn't work out for any members of the Washington Bar Association. There's no indigency, no criminal services, any regulation or unjust in any shape and way and form, but just damages. Just damages to itself. And attaching criminal services, staples, coming on computer mainframes and equipment, misusing service and guidance in any safe way. These are stipulations, meaning requirements, forms, stipulation, legislative facts, approval. These is just paper making safe up of the body cam can take care of all the increments because they made up situation. Somebody's on the radio, officer makes a dispatch call. Somebody dispatch knows Felix Barela, knows Valerie, and knows Kurt from dispatch Othello, Washington. State patrol units know it because he calls them. Pretty much any situation when a police officer, Othello police officers, starts a problem with Felix Barela in any shape and way and form, try apprehending or arrest me in any way, shape, and form. Before the act and after the act, and that during the duration of threatening to catch his farm on fire or his ranch on fire, or trying to threaten him in shape, way, and form as increments of rolling down the window, how it started, and just started a fight in the public society at Eric Olson's property, or the lumberyard, or threaten to catch places on fire or same, and then you turn them into the police department, the fire department, just Gary, Weaver, and Erica, and Tom, fire department dispatch, and also the Washington State Patrol office about the increments of concerns this officer starting fights in Ergo Moses Lake, Fire District 5, or Fire District 3 here in Kennewick, Washington. Let them know. The increments on all of these services, your service in communicating in their face, and let them know to run all the regulation reports, of which is all lies. See, this document here is pretty original. We're gonna put this up and put this in Andy Miller's wall and attach the PDF Andy Miller has to get watched, and it's we're gonna put scan this and put this on laminate, and this original document for a large amount of money. And this is the Justice Department here in Andy Miller's office. And it's never been cashed. Now the Social Security office and increments on that. See how many checks or mailboxes these call post office postmasters, and have them high alert for everything that's been taken out in a situation with the mailbox keys and increments. It's around your neck and around your dog tags, and also your UBI number, effective signature Kim Wyman. Her UBI, her effective is her services for 8 years full for Washington State. Be acknowledged. And also, Mr. Governor Inslee, that's Department license account. And Department license, that's what it says on your ID, your application, your Class A, CDL A and B, your chauffeur's license, your contract of the Cruiser Academy, and also the Essential Driving Academy. And that $75 contract is increments you give them $450 plus $75 contract. That they give you all that money back because you're already done, passed your test. You get your services, you get your driver's license, you get your chauffeur license, your CL license, and increments. They're apologizing in every way, shape, or form. But that $75 contract, that $75 stays in the possession of that contract, and it still holds a bind contract regardless. And that doctor's note and services for your incomes for your blood and testing, and your incomes on all your full register services for your judgments and inquiries, no recollection were no drug agency, no nothing in your pathogens in your blood, no foreign or unknown instruments of COVID-19 in your bloodstream. Your vaccination, your blood is looked at every month. Any overlap services for insurance coverage is paid in full. There's no indigency at any shape, or way, and form. As you say, Mr. Brandon West, Public Counsel for Defendants, I'm not indigent in any way, shape, and form. I don't fit those qualifications. Mr. Brandon West poses himself. Mr. John Cooney Law Firm got $4,000 in their possession. Assets and tools and service increments in class and conference calls and juries increments. They didn't even use none of that increments. But that sealed document is sealed because I did all that work for myself. Payments, receives, and deductibles, and working with Cimaron 5 INC increment UBI number 602720. And that's Secretary Kim Wyman. And Mr. Patty Murray and Karen Cantwell, Mr. Andy Miller's office. So increments is sitting in that area, Andy Miller's office door entrance way. Like the Tri-State Herald, like the baby child that you are, you can't, pretty much can't defend yourself. You can't whip out a law book or walk in a law firm, Ministry of Federal, or being at Gonzaga University as a child, but you can't defend yourself any way, shape, and form because the malpractice suits and lawsuits that they contributed of all the patches, increments, the active duty services, that increments that people that lost in their services, the increments of witnessing their service of practice in the community when they did this or did that, or obstacle course or exercise and duration, of putting a body cam on their chest, body cam on their services, takes all their amendments, their choice of concealed gun permits and their threats out of their mouth, on paper, on imaging for everybody to see. See that Mr. McKenna, James McKenna, very smart man. Mr. Talbot Wallace and Mr. Sackman, Mr. Miller, Judge Miller, he's no more longer there. The United States Air Force General is no longer there anymore. And Mr. Fade Ferris, manager for Othello, Washington, no more there. Now it's just Sean Logan, 7 days a week. See, he has no days off, and there's no way him getting out of that. There's no way him digging a grave out, and then him seeing Andy Miller watching Sean Logan or any of these events. How it works. See, it's called white chess piece pawn, black chess piece pawn, offense defense. Your first move and increments to checkmate is in 4 or 5 moves. Offense or defense. See, there's always a fight or confrontation in the shape or form of fabricating any kind of individual services, and conviction as them and parties or increment services, increments on the services on the Washington Court rules. That amendment and statute for services exercising levies of the COVID-19. Supposing Mr. increments of Bill Gates and also Mr. Donald Trump and Ivanka Barela services and Social Security, the cameras don't lie. Thieving and stealing from people, and also the Court of Appeals administrative rules on the car, including amendments and receiving a MAPSAC and driver's license services on sealed documents. Sealed documents is sealed. Things are attached or fabricating in shape and form. It's personally a personal vendetta is what I see in my part. This would cost your job. This would cost your judgment suspension online, also online Washington Bar Association rules and jurisdiction authority, appointments of businesses, and chief judge and session judgments and styles of process. The style of process from Court of Appeals runs the state of Washington by a test and the name of chief judge signed and the clerk of the court denies execution scaled and sealed of the court and returnable recording such rules. And Susan on YouTube Facebook, Mr. Dixon on YouTube Facebook, occurs in records. I was asking for records in the sealed document. You cannot change sealed documentation. You go to State Patrol Office, State Detachment Unit in Richville, Washington, contacting Mrs. Hanson and get that footage in that body cam. There's no changing that sealed document that's been sealed. And why are you putting Felix Barela in the back car handcuffing? Where are you going with him? He's in the hallway and animals increments on the camera's footage and increments. the purchases and the transaction reports, no coordination of services does not match in any shape and way and form. Fabricating something then to a joined sealed document that says style for purchase or style for process. Those all occurrence of transaction that goes in Annie Miller's transaction reports on also Superior District municipal matters in shape and way and form. This is Franklin. That's Adams County. Franklin is Benton County. And there's no policy regulation. It's only 5 minutes from it's only 3 minutes. Adams County to Franklin County, a walk. Adams County to which is Benton County. Which all those properties do not belong to you at all. It belongs in increments. It says style of process. There's no identity in the service of the rule. There's so many rights of defendants that have these assignments of lawyers of comparison for the criminal laws and services. They have explained application to these lawyers. They have service to other than lawyers. They got this stage proceedings. They got the types of process lawyers shall extend in criminal proceedings and criminal scenes. They're trying to make a criminal scene to an escalating scene to a service and making things up one thing after another when there's a camera above area and you can't fabricating something. You make somebody stop running or stop running a program on a computer system or a internet program or system in increments, proving the rights of defendant service of himself. So as a child, you need to protect yourself in the shape and way and form of the fear of your life. So you sit in Dixon's office for a whole week and then walk to Carol J. Benz's office and you put that on all increments of services, I'll call them all units at that time duration period. And she wants that VIN number off that police vehicle. Yeah, Felix Barela, could you get that VIN number off that police vehicle that the police officer that's trying to arrest? Sure, I'll do it right here in front of everybody. Sure, I'll do it. I'm in your face, Sheriff, whatever your name is, because he got fired too. He's about 6'2", blonde, white, Caucasian. They fired him. The General of Army of the United States fired him, Mr. Wade. And it's 3:30. It's 1:25 p.m. and this is Friday, May 1st, 2020. Effectively 126, Andy Miller at 509-73535. See that increments in their services for language barrier. And I'd be nice if you arrest and detain him as we speak, because it's a waste of time, criminal services, and also increments of waste of community services, as also increments of the services you can really partake on the service.